Blues visit to the Crusaders ends in a bit of a miserable failure. 29 points to 6. Crusaders very comfortable winners, setting up a final with the Chiefs in a fortnight's time. The Crusaders now go on to the bye, have a week off before getting ready for the final. The Chiefs come up here to Auckland to play a bit of a dead rubber against the Blues. But we'll go through this game, some of the key events, the stats, and you guys can let me know your thoughts on how you think things went. First of all, let me just say, what a crowd. Great crowd. I'm not sure what was the big draw, whether it was because it's a long weekend, as some people suggested, because it's an afternoon game, because it's the Blues, because the Crusaders had lost a couple of games recently, and maybe there was a bit more tension about what was going to go on. But either way, whatever the reasons were for people getting out there, hell of a crowd, beautiful to see. All you people at Christchurch who got out to the game should be very proud of yourselves for putting on quite the spectacle. It's a shame the Blues couldn't give you a better showing. Like, it was a bit of a... Yeah, it was a bit of a mismatch, wasn't it? Because the Blues didn't really compete much in this game, but the Crusaders did certainly put on a show for their loyal fans. It started off pretty early, man. The Blues were camped in their own half for what seemed like an age, their own 22 even. And eventually, Will Jordan beats about 4 tacklers to go over for the first try of the game. He just... unbelievable how well he can beat tacklers. We've seen him do it loads of times. And the Blues defense is really not up to the task. And all of a sudden, it's 7 points to 0. Not a position you want to be in if you're the Blues, but a cracking start for the Crusaders. On 11 minutes, there's a wee bit of controversy because there's an off-the-ball hit on Tanialu Telea. And the TMO has a look at that and just says it's a penalty. Blues fans would probably swear black and blue it should be at least a yellow card. But interestingly, Taleo goes off. I initially thought it must have been for an HIA, but it wasn't for an HIA. Apparently, he was just really badly winded. And because he was on the ground for such a long time, the match day doctor didn't let him back on the field. Leon McDonald's had a big moan about that. Subsequently saying that the officials got it wrong, that he was just really winded. And if you've been winded before, it's pretty bloody uncomfortable and you can't really breathe. So I can understand if you were really badly winded, if you took a hit when you were unexpectedly, in a position that you weren't expecting to be hit. It might take you a minute or two to get back on your feet. So he goes off winded and doesn't get to come back on. So the Blues pretty peed off about that one, but I mean, there's no way that's any difference in the outcome of the game. Even if that's a yellow card, even if Talea comes back on, the Blues still lose this one pretty handily. But anyway, that's just what's being spoken about post the game. It looked like Satutu had got the Blues on the board on 17 minutes. The Blues got a scrum penalty, which was encouraging. And Satutu had a big old run, but he was interestingly called up for being just short. Will Jordan, it looked like he wasn't able to stop Satutu, but he was able to get his arms around him, so he wasn't quite able to force the ball, and the tip of the ball was just short of the line. It was absolutely the right call. And the Crusaders still got the Blues on 0 at that point. Interestingly, on 20 minutes, the Blues got another penalty. They opted to go for touch. They mauled it. After some phases, the Crusaders turned them over. Now, I wasn't sure if the Blues went back in their goal kicking at that point because Plummer had an early shot and that was horrendous. An early penalty shot which was way wide. He shouldn't be taking the goal kicking at this level. But Black had come on and Black would probably been able to slot that one. But either way, they opted for touch. Didn't pay off. Crusaders, they lapped that stuff up for breakfast, man. The defense is really solid. 22 minutes. A bit of kicking forced back, and Caleb Clark decides to run the ball back, and he knocks it on. It's a big crunching tackle from the Crusaders. He knocks it on. The Crusaders counter, and it leads to a Cody Taylor knock on, which is uncharacteristic from him because he's had a huge season. But from the resulting scrum, the Blues muck it up with their exit play. They're kind of in two minds. They're under heaps of pressure. It's Richie Moonga putting Perifeta under heaps of pressure, and he throws the ball forward out to the right wing. So the resulting play leads to the next Crusaders try. That's Severis on 27 minutes. It's a big cutout pass. Was it Havili that threw that one? Oh, I can't remember. But yeah, he beat Perifetta pretty easily. The conversion hit the posts, but it's 12-0. 12-0. All from the Blues failing to do the basics and exit right, and the Crusaders just being absolutely clinical, man. It's what they do. 31 minutes, the Blues had a captain's referral for a neck roll by Blackadder on Gibson, and that was adjudicated to be a correct call. So the Blues got a penalty from there. They went through some phases in the Crusaders 22 and eventually decided to pass it to the Crusaders. Maybe they want to be on the Crusaders side after watching them play, and I was left shaking my head. Late 30 minutes, the Crusaders had a penalty attempt, but they missed it. That was Talia at the breakdown. Conceded a penalty, but they were unable to punish the Blues for that one. But Talia was offside again a few minutes later, and Havili took a big old shot, but he missed it as well. So the Crusaders missed 2 shots at goal before halftime. Halftime stats: position 50-50, territory 52-48, knock-ons is 4-2 with the Blues having more. Run meters are pretty tight. Clean breaks is 6-2 with the Crusaders having 6. Defenders beaten is 13-4 with the Crusaders having 13. So yeah, the Crusaders being a lot more effective with the ball they had. Second half, Blues get on the ball with the penalty early to make it 12-3, but the Crusaders are able to win a penalty straight from the kickoff. It's very much a Blues game where they are scoring points and then immediately giving away a penalty to concede some. So the margin is restored, make it 15-3. The Blues get another one because the Crusaders are actually guilty of the same thing, conceding points straight after scoring. 15-6. But the Crusaders raised the game up again with a big maul try through Taylor. And again, all from the Crusaders winning you get to the Blues conceding a penalty with Clark under pressure on his own line. So 22-6 with the conversion. 22-6 is looking like a mountain, man, at that point. Akira had a big line break at one point. Akira Ioane, when he came on, isolated, of course. He got the ball to Papali'i and the Blues got turned over. So no real support runners. It seemed like if they got a line break, they would have said, what the hell are we doing? This is amazing. How do we get a line break? 72 minutes, Will Jordan. One of the tries you'll ever see. You have to go and watch the highlights if you haven't seen it. There's a bobbling ball, and his reaction time, it's come forward off his leg, so it's not a knock-on. His reaction time to swat his hand down on it to score the try is an amazing piece of reaction time. Like in slow motion, it doesn't do it justice. Watch it at full speed. It's amazing. 29-6. That's the final score. I'm pretty annoyed with the Blues, man. Like, honestly, I can accept getting beaten by the Crusaders, and I can accept that if the Blues put up a good fight. But man, they were shocking. They were honestly so poor. It's really, really discouraging. I mean, the Crusaders just do what they do, man. Even the Crusaders, by their own accounts, weren't as good as they can be. They could have put more on the Blues easily, but they are starting to come right. They've had a couple of shaky weeks, but they're kind of back to what we're more expecting here. Run meters finished 385 to 500. The Blues have got more. The Blues got more possession, more territory, and also more knock-ons, 12 to 5. I don't know if they butted their hands up before the game or what. Crusaders kicking was pretty effective. 20 kicks from hand to the Blues 9. So the Blues I don't know, unable to get it done. Clean breaks 10 to 9 to the Blues, and the Crusaders pretty similar there. Penalties conceded 13-12 with the Crusaders having one more, so pretty even there as well. Will Jordan finished with 8 defenders beaten, 3 from 3 tackles. Papali'i makes 10 from 11 tackles, so he's one of the few bright spots in a losing effort. Scott Barrett, 14 from 15. First time the Blues apparently haven't scored a try for 4 years. Poor. Honestly, man, I don't know what's going on. Very disappointing. Very disappointing. What can you say? Like I said, I don't mind losing to the Crusaders. Obviously, I don't like it as a Blues fan, but at least give me something to say, at least the boys tried. They put in a good effort. Not that bloody had 12 knock-ons. Couldn't tackle Will Jordan. For goodness sake, man. Anyway, Crusaders have teed up a final with the Chiefs. Like I mentioned, that should be a good game because the Chiefs have been in hot form and the Crusaders look to have just turned the corner a wee bit. So at home, they'll definitely be a tough prospect. Let's hope that's a better game than this one was. It was the Crusaders doing enough and the Blues being bloody poor. Anyway, you guys have any thoughts on this one? Sorry if I'm a bit annoyed. It's just the Blues. We should be used to it now. It's another season where they just continue to disappoint. Anyway, you guys take care of yourselves, and I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.